15干，我们一个平均15干，过去，关键是个电话不能跟你讲。准备的不一样，是这干活吧？你感觉？哎，你按说干活，你我去那和师傅来干，就我的没手，我把师傅干活。没事的，师傅啊，师傅让我走啊，不是这个，不是这个往上，不是往上。他实际上是这个理论系统啊，可以公平的嘛，可以公平的话可以。
很大的一些妇女
Many women aren't in charge of their own destinies.
自己的命运啊，所以到了农村你要
That's why if someone in the countryside meets a girl of 18 and wants to know if she's married, they don't ask, have you got a husband? But rather, have you got a jus? Jus means master. So a girl isn't her own master and has to find one. Have you got a master?
你要找一个主，你有主了吗？
China's women have always been under pressure, from men, from family, from work. Now more and more are under new pressure, from themselves, to take control of their lives, to get an education, to have a career, to marry for love. It's a slow, difficult process which is changing China. China is going home. For a fortnight at New Year, around 150 million exhausted workers take a break from building new China to revisit the old, to return to their villages laden with gifts and stories from the city.
I think they're amazing. Migrants are the greatest people. The fact that they're up sticks shows how brave and determined they are. They are willing to change their lifestyle and their thinking, particularly the women.
Migration fractures families, but it also gives women new roles, whether running the farm back home or as wage earners in the city. Xiao Zhan has lived in Beijing for 14 years, cooking and cleaning. For a few hours each week, she sees her husband Xiao Huang, who works in a small restaurant in the suburbs. This is the only time in the year when they're together.
It's always like this when we go home for New Year. Everyone's carrying bags, big and small. We're all looking for a place for the luggage. I just want to get on the train, grab a seat and find somewhere to dump the stuff. Then we can relax.
They're taking the night train home to Anhui, 600 miles south.
For me, there are two Chinas. Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou. That's one China. I know the other China. It's where there are more women, more poverty. It's where we need the decision-making to be more rational and democratic. That's the place I like. Changing China means changing the countryside. That means changing women.
With the exodus of men to the cities, 2/3 of China's rural workforce are women. To improve their lives, they need education, but it costs. Parents prefer to spend on their son, so he'll look after them in old age. A daughter becomes part of her husband's family. Xiao Zhan has bumped into a university friend of her brother. Neither she nor her sister received higher education, but they're supporting their brother through college.
It's not easy for people from the countryside to go to university. We think that if we support our brother and he does well, it'll be very good for our parents and the family.
Few returning for New Year have children with them. Most can't afford schooling in the city or aren't allowed access to it. So millions of children are left in the countryside with grandparents, while parents work to support them. And that's what gives added urgency and poignancy to Xiao Zhan and Xiao Huang's journey. Because waiting for them in his parents' village are the 10-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son they haven't seen for a year.
I wanted to get home as quickly as possible and see the children as soon as we got off the train, to hear our children calling us. People abroad are more open. It'd be very embarrassing in China if we kissed and cuddled like foreigners. In China, we buy presents and clothes for our children when we go home. That's how we show we care.
I was very happy. When my daughter came to me holding a pair of new boots and told me, I love them, I said, if you love the boots, then listen to me. You must study hard and go to university, and one day you'll have whatever clothes you want. My daughter said, yes, I'll be good. I promise I'll study hard.
Dan Dan and her brother Jin Hui exemplify Chinese birth control policy in the countryside. The aim is to limit China's population, currently 1.3 billion, but a side effect is to favour boys. If your firstborn is male, you can't have another child. But if, like Xiao Zhan, your first is a girl, you can have a second hoping for a son to take care of you and carry on the family line.
Personally, I'd have preferred to give birth to a daughter than a son. But as my Xiao Huang is the only boy in his family, his parents, my mother and father-in-law, wanted me to have a son.
Having a son in China is often not left to chance.
Some people do an ultrasound scan 4 to 5 months into pregnancy, and when they find out it's a girl, they go for an abortion. I know a privately owned hospital that does it. The government has reinforced the restriction on abortions many times, but they haven't stopped. The main reason is corruption in the health service, and corruption is everywhere. So men and women are still treated unequally.
Xiao Zhan resisted family pressures to have a scan because she did not see abortion as an option.
No, I wouldn't do that. I was pregnant again and told Xiao Huang, boy or girl, it doesn't matter. We're going to have it.
Some parents abandon baby girls. These are lucky, found in time and brought to a foster home. Disabled girl babies particularly risk being unwanted. The government's trying to persuade the people that girls are as good as boys. But by the year 2020, there'll be a shortfall of around 40 million women.
好不好听？咦，好听不好听？哼哼。就20年之后的中国的这个妇女。
Women will face an even more terrible future in 20 years' time. Abduction and trafficking women will increase. So will prostitution, as well as sexual violence against women and rape. I think this problem really must be solved from the ground up.
Birth planning officer Hu Guanhua is doing her rounds. New Year's a good time to catch women at home. Next stop, Xiaozhang's village. In its drive to control the birth rate, the state peers into the nation's bedrooms. China's women don't have a lot of privacy.
那你现在可在避孕啊？
没。
你这不结过婚，你这不在避孕好了？
我这才结婚了嘛，孙女才结婚了。
如果你足孕期，你怀孕了，你本人必须回来领终身证。终身证呢，必须是怀孕4个前，你把终身证领了，到这样填那个一孩生育指标那个审批表，都是免费的。办那个生育叫生者保级那个卡，就是我给你讲一段，就是安徽省禁止非医学输入经典胎儿性别和选择性别准职人称的规定，就是你怀孕了过后，你们不给你有选择性的。 有的选择生男孩啊，选择生女孩啊，属于准职人称，准职人啊。这个安徽省流动人口计划在强制，就是第3条实行计划生育是我国国家的一项基本国策。 就等于，计划生育是我们中国的一项基本国策，采取综合措施，控制人口数量，提高人口素质，鼓励公民晚婚晚育，少生育生。这个时候你父亲不生小孩，政府也是会劝你生小孩，只要让你能生小孩。
Young wives aren't just accountable to the birth planning officer.
他一下融入一个很陌生的环境，他要跟。
In joining the new world of their husband's family, they've got their father-in-law to deal with, their mother-in-law, various uncles, sisters-in-law, etc. She's got to gain everyone's acceptance. When there are conflicts, she's the weakest. So this custom of moving in with the husband's family has made many women feel helpless when they have problems. They feel very helpless.
Xiaozhang gets on with her husband's family now, but it hasn't always been easy.
I was quite upset at the time. I'd lived all my life with my own mum and dad, and here I was expected to call his parents mum and dad. Very strange, I couldn't do it. It's much better now. Time's passed and we've got the children, so it's okay now.
Many marriages are arranged, but not Xiaozhang's.
He was working in my sister's restaurant. We worked there together. He's a very caring person. Whatever happens, he'll always think about you and about your needs. Even before you start doing something, he's already thought about it and done it for you.
They prepare the food on New Year's Eve, as it's unlucky to use knives on the day itself. And there are other rituals to be observed, but by the men rather than the women. Men inherit the land. Men carry on the family name. And men pay respect to the family dead. Xiao Huang leads 3 generations to each grave, scattered round the village. This year, unusually, Dan Dan has joined the men.
The girls can go too, but once they've grown up, they get married and belong to someone else, whereas men stay on at home.
They burn pretend money to give the dead wealth in the afterlife. Firecrackers scare off evil spirits. The biggest landmark in Xiaozhang's New Year is a wedding in the family. Her second cousin, Zhang Rushun, and his fiancée have gone to the nearby town for premarital registration with Hu Guanhua. At this point, Cao Wen-nian enters the state birth control system. The health check includes a full internal examination. The couple has named the 14th of February as the wedding day. Their families object, because this puts the marriage into next year in the Chinese calendar. An unlucky year. But though their marriage was arranged, theirs has become a love match. And no other date will do except Valentine's Day.
If a woman goes to live with her husband's family and they treat her well, or if she's found someone who loves and respects her, she'll be all right. If not, things will be very difficult for her. This is because there's a saying among men, marrying a woman is like buying a horse. I can ride you and beat you whenever I like. Men feel that I've spent money on bringing you into my family, so I have the right to order you around. And a man will beat a woman if she has a mind of her own.
A few hours into her marriage, Cao Wen-nian looks out from her in-law's house. Her husband, Zhang Rushun, is below with his family. Xiao Zhang and Xiao Huang are there, with Dan Dan and Jin Hui. They're all waiting for the dowry to arrive. Within the traditions of country weddings, there's a relationship between the dowry and the bride's value.
Usually, the woman specifies what gift she wants, then the man's side gives her the money to pay for them. It's done in 2 separate stages. First she takes one wad of money, then she takes the second. Once the couple have the money, they buy the things for their dowry. That's how we do it.
The groom's father has also paid the bride's family in cigarettes to carry the dowry from her house. By tradition, they must bring it to the edge of the bridegroom's village, where his family will take over. But for some reason, her family has set the dowry down in the mud, and they won't budge.
The business of making betrothal gifts is in fact a form of bride buying. In the old days they were business deals. I give you my daughter, whom I've brought up for 20 years, and I want to get back the money I've spent on her over 20 years.
The groom's family comes back with a compromise offer, but the bride's father takes it all as a gross insult. The groom's father and Xiaozhang's mother try to calm him.
It was a misunderstanding. All that fuss was a misunderstanding. Just kids messing about. They wanted cigarettes, wanted to have a laugh. It was meant as a joke. We apologized, gave them the cigarettes. That solved the whole thing. No big deal.
The two families meet midfield and carry the dowry into the village. The argument over the dowry may have been just a joke, but the groom's father feels the need to make a public apology.
亲家就是日舅舅就是姥姥就是各位就是长辈这些就是兄弟就是姑姑就是侄子就是今年我实在做的对不起你们啊，有事指望云南好啊。部长啊，实在对不起，云南实在云南，有时候我们没做过事啊，是吧？云南啊，就是买菜随行都很视频，小孩家都不讲这样。
Zhao Wennian finally gets hold of her dowry. But this arrangement of furniture, TV and hi-fi is only temporary. When New Year is over, she and Zhang Rushun will cart everything back to their home in Beijing. For the prosperous family she's now joined, the village is a place to visit for special occasions, not to live in.
It'll be all right. The house won't fall down. We've just got to lock the door. Everyone will be in Beijing. Of course they'll be in Beijing. They've been there for years. Why would they move back?
Flights of stairs poke up through the roofs of houses in Dayang village. They were built in anticipation of adding another story for married children. But the children have gone to the cities, and the stairs lead nowhere. After New Year, the village changes character. It's left to the women now, looking after young and old, running household and farm.
We plant cotton in early April, and for that we have to dig little holes. You put the seeds into the hole, 18,000 an acre, and add soil.
I get up at 4 in the morning and work till 7 p.m. It's hard. Country life is hard. We're tired. We do it to live, to earn money, for us, our children, our parents.
I've got a child in high school and my father-in-law at home. I support both old and young. My daughter's been away for 3 years. My husband's been working away for over 10. When my husband's off in the city, I worry. What he's eating, how hard he's working, who'll wash his clothes, who's cooking for him. I worry about all these things.
We worry about them. Our husbands in the city worry about us. Plus, we look after the children. We live like this to survive. For the men, it's even tougher being away than for us left behind. In some ways, we've got it easier at home.
I don't know. It's so long to be apart. I miss him. I do miss him.
Palding village, Tibet. There's hardly a man to be seen. What interests the women here, what concerns them, depends in part on what stage they're at in their lives.
Mum does the work. Dad just gets up, drinks tea and sits on his bum. Sometimes he splits rocks. Not today he isn't.
Some talk of getting jobs in the city, but need their parents' approval.
They'll let us leave the village for a decent job. But girls have taken work in bars and have gone astray, so that sort of work isn't allowed. Decent jobs are okay.
I want to be a nun. She wants to be a nun to cleanse all her bad karma.
A key to changing one's life is education, but many don't get the opportunity.
We do farm work. We don't have any other skills. Well, that's how it seems to us. Even if I wanted to do more, I'm a bit past it. And when you don't have any education or skills, then the only option is to get stuck doing farm work.
I want knowledge, I really do. In the old days, even if you wanted to learn reading and writing, you didn't have the right to. These days, we have the right. But because of my old age and my eyesight, I'm completely blind in my left eye, you know. My time for learning has passed me by.
So long as you can work, you do work. And as long as you can work, you have to work. After that, when you can't work anymore, the state set up old people's homes. They look after the aged.
Deep down, I trust and hope my children will look after me. But when you become really old and unable to bear your own weight, it's hard to tell how things might turn out. Because my children have their own lives to lead. From time to time, that raises doubts in my mind.
These women in Palding village are shifting the straw as part of a barter arrangement. In exchange for the work, the owner of the straw, Tsokyi, is cooking them all dinner.
Before, when my husband was here, he'd bring in some hard cash. The most difficult thing now is that we haven't got anyone with earning power. Apart from selling a few potatoes, we've no other sources of income.
With a population of just 2.5 million, Tibet is not subject to strict birth planning rules. Tsokyi has a son and 2 daughters.
I've already taken the oldest out of school. He wasn't learning anything. I hope to keep the 2 younger ones there as long as possible, no matter what sacrifices I have to make. I thought my husband was a wonderful, honest man. I trusted him working away as a truck driver. I was busy with farm work here, We talked on the phone, and I agreed to him staying on there. He was away a long time, but I trusted him because I thought he was an honest man. But then I learned from others that he'd been having an affair. Since then, I can't trust any man. At first, I couldn't sleep very well, but as time passes, I sleep a bit better. I still feel very depressed. I try to make light of life by socializing with others, but inside, I'm very unhappy. My heart continues to ache. This year my mother fell ill and I went to look after her in hospital. When I came home, he confessed to me, while you were away, I did something bad. He was holding me in his arms and crying. So I told him, if you leave her and come home, I'll forgive you. But he said he couldn't do that and insisted that the three of us should all live together. I refused to accept any such arrangement and stubbornly stuck to my position. That if that were the case, I'd rather be alone. It wasn't as if we used to fight. That's why I feel so strange, so sad. If we'd had problems with the relationship and argued a lot, then it would be much easier to get over. I don't really know what's going to happen. He gives the impression he might come back, that he can't see their relationship lasting. But now he's gone back to her because she says she's pregnant. I don't know whether she really is pregnant or not, but she claims she is, and he's gone to her. I can't tell how things will turn out in the end.
Women at home have to take care of the old, the sick, the young. They must look after the household as well as work in the fields. They're completely burdened down. That's why 85% of women suffer from bad health, and mentally they're not in great shape either.
China has one of the highest suicide rates for women in the world, 150,000 a year. 1 every 4 minutes. And China is the only country in the world where more women kill themselves than men. And most victims aren't ground down by the stresses of urban life. They're rural women.
The majority are women aged between 15 and 35. They're quite young. Most use pesticides. It's all too easy to get hold of pesticide. Some women commit suicide impulsively. A husband and wife may have a bitter fight. When it's over, the woman just grabs some poison and drinks it.
Facing a bleak, lonely future with a domineering husband, many country women feel hopeless and helpless. 1.5 million a year are desperate enough to attempt suicide, but fail. China's Rural Women magazine runs a school near Beijing to teach practical skills and self-confidence. There are classes in hairdressing and computing, along with suicide prevention, gender awareness, and women's participation in politics.
The whole point of the training is to teach young girls to discover their potential. We're focusing on girls who are 16 or 17. I think they'll be okay. But they normally get married very young, at 18. So I think it's better to educate them before they get married. Once married, they come under their husband's control. It'll be difficult for them to break away.
Mothers too are a key influence, either pushing their daughters towards independence or trying to rein them in.
Before I came here, my mum said that if you work for a year or two, you'll be over 20. You'd best get married. She said that it was better to marry well than study well. After I came here, I didn't think my aim should be to get myself a good husband. I'd do better fighting for a career of my own.
When I left, my mum told me, "You must study hard. This is your chance to get out of the countryside. And it's your last chance."
But there are few schools like this one. There are 650 million women in China. The daunting problems of women's status and rights are compounded in China's Muslim regions. The lives of Xinjiang's 4 million Uyghur women are tightly circumscribed. They're subordinate to fathers, brothers, husbands. They're not allowed to pray in mosques. The Communist Party promotes women's interests and equality through the All China Women's Federation.
For a long time, it's been very rare for Uyghur women to go much further than their own front doors. They live in a small world, like frogs sitting at the bottom of a well. All they can see is a tiny bit of sky, so their outlook is very narrow. A woman is treated as a man's possession. It's the duty of a woman to look after him, whether it's work in the fields or in the house. She might bring in some money, but she has no share in it. It's taken as her duty. Only by giving women financial independence can their status in society and in the family be improved.
The Women's Federation tries to recruit village women to earn money picking cotton, but they'll have to leave husband and family for perhaps 2 months. The road to emancipation lies through a minefield of prohibitions and inhibitions.
Pul tapsa ayollar o'ziga topadi, o'zining turmushini yaxshilaydi, kiyim-kechak etib kiydi. O'zing o'zining kiyim-kechakni etib kiyaliganmi, hal cho'ng ish ayol uchun. Qo'rqma, yeringizdan juraylik berib shagir qajliyalaysizlar, ding berib. Bir mezgil tutib, qaylanglar, yaldiringlar, bir mezgil o'tib, ayolning qadri o'tiladi. Qadri o'tiladi. Ayolning qadri o'talsa, voy isit shu ayolning bilan demdigan men. Azab o'tdan bir ayolni u azab chiqib qolib sirtga kelib bilan demayman deydigan ya keladi axaqlar. Aslimi o'zinglarniki ham o'zingni qo'shibsizlar. Shunganda men shuni bir tashviq qilgancha edim, chiqadiganlar bormi? Sirt chiqib ishlaydiganlar bormi? Chiqalamlar. Tayyorlik qilinglar. Hozirgi bori? Vermasdan chiqdi. Degan bolam bilan elib chiqib Ben çıkmasam mı balamı okşaş balam çıkmadı ki. O mu çıkarsam ben mi çıkarsam ördeki ballarım takı. Anda biz arkadaşlar işte arkada keselim yok kaldı. Şuna bakın bir kere. Ben de ne mutlu.
The women are clearly uncomfortable. And the reason is the presence of their menfolk staring at them. Some women instinctively inch away to sit with their men. The men are then asked to leave the courtyard, and that changes everything. The women now talk freely, and Horigul Amat seems to change her position completely.
O bektap okuyatkan ballarımızgına bir defter kalemine vakt karayda toluk epralıydık emez ma balam depi. 5-6 koyluk defter kalem eprasek balımızda okuşu yaxşı olurdu ki. Hem bu yılma iki bezge eydise yana Xudayım bursa çıkıp işlep çıkın düşmez hem de çıkımız teşkilge bu istinap.
Maksat kifes işlememez hem de. Köz içilsa sırtı çıkıp enimin ügünep ticaret kıysak buldu şanımız gıdak geltürmey. Bomboğur işlerini kılmay öz yolumuzun tepip düz yolla mağıp neymiş kıysak?
Kisli aciz emez ında özemlik güzelini kemsitmenler. Erlerle beraber. Tan yaralı harem beylen.
Adem Adem düz mü Adem?
The exodus of country women to the high-tech cities of China's southeast is driven by factories' need for labour, not any policy of emancipation. But for Wu Jiaxia, the result is the same. She feels free for the first time in her life.
Back home, it gets so dark at night that we can't see a thing. You've got to have a torch. But there's more going on here in the evening than during the day, with bright lights, hustle and bustle. We can go to the disco. With no work on Sundays, we can stay up till 4 in the morning, enjoying ourselves.
Wu Jiaxia is killing time till 7 in the evening, when she'll go on night shift for 12 hours. She lives and works at an electronics factory in Sanxiang, Guangdong province. With overtime, she can earn around 11,000 yuan a year, £15 a week.
If I can save up enough from what I'm making here, I'd like to go into business. Going home to work in the fields like my parents. They work from dawn to dusk all year with only 2,000 or 3,000 yuan to show for it. They wind up with a house full of crops and nothing else. I don't think that beats what I'm doing.
Her factory looks and feels like a college campus, with shops, library, coffee bar.
I really like it here. The facilities are much better than at home. We don't have a hot water boiler at home, so it takes ages to heat water for washing. So I prefer it here. I don't like going home.
Relationships are formed here without interference by marriage brokers or parents, anxious for a good match close to home.
I've got a boyfriend. He's from Shanxi, a long way from my home. My parents aren't too happy. They think it's a bit far away.
But not all employers in Guangdong province are enlightened. Some factories are sweatshops, and not all workers are happy.
They're away from their families and relatives. They don't have a social support network, so they're under a lot of stress. We hope our projects can provide a support network at community level for women workers. Some have left home only to be cheated, kidnapped and sold, or harmed. It's happened because they're not streetwise. So we give them training. On top of this, we've also set up a performance group to stimulate and entertain them.
The performers are drawn from factory and workplace. Pang Shijia is on a production line making shoes.
I told my mum I've joined the entertainment troupe here and have a good chance to get on. I told her that I'm sometimes unhappy working in a factory, but things lighten up once we all get together for a show. Any stress just vanishes.
On Saturday nights, they put on a show for 10,000 workers in need of spectacle and escape after an exhausting week assembling the world's computers, stitching the world's trainers. The show also contains propaganda, made palatable by humour, for an audience on the brink of marriage and parenthood. Women's new lives bring new tensions as they balance work and family pressures against their own health and happiness.
I've been here 2 years and wanted to go home the whole time. I'm really homesick. My mum rings me up a lot, asking me to come home, but I can't because I have to perform. I work in a kindergarten and my voice is gone. I have a cold but no time to see the doctor. I must apologise for my performance because I couldn't do it as well as usual.
I work on the assembly line. I'm sorry. It's tough. Very tough.
I'd never touched her hands. But then I did once when we were rehearsing a dance. They're very rough compared with ours, as she has to grip a cutting knife. The back of the blade rubs the palms of her hands all the time. That's why her hands are so rough. Where I work, we're not allowed to talk between 6:08 in the morning and 6:08 in the evening. We can't talk. That's why I can barely string a sentence together.
Work's no less boring since I joined the performance group. But when I think of all the friends we've made across the country, we're at our happiest in the evenings, rehearsing, singing, dancing. This is our best time.
Back in Beijing, a month after New Year, it's Xiao Zhang's day off. She's gone to her sister's restaurant in the suburbs, where her husband Xiao Huang works. It's the only time in the week they have together. Parting from their children after New Year is still fresh in their minds, still raw.
I was very upset. I didn't let the children know when we were going. Jinhui thought we were leaving the day before, so he kept following us around. It was very upsetting. Our daughter also tagged along behind. She's older, so that annoyed me, and I kept telling her off. Of course she was very upset. She just trailed around after me. I asked her to take care of Jinhui, but she wouldn't. She didn't say a thing, but she must have been very sad deep down. She just followed us around, saying nothing.
Jinhui called me when we arrived in Beijing. I felt really bad. He thought I'd ring him when I got here. He said, "Dad, when did you leave?" In the morning, I told him, you were still asleep. He said, "You tricked me. You told me you'd take me with you to Beijing, to go to school. But you haven't." I felt awful.
Our children need taking care of. At least one of us should stay at home.
Next on China, the battle for the environment. China's paying the price for economic boom. Her air and water are being poisoned, and people are dying.
China continues next Tuesday at 9 here on BBC2. Actors versus writers next tonight for a special University Challenge.